Hello everybody, Daniel Sizowitz with the Casimir Effect, here to talk to you about the making of our song, My Love.
Now you're all I dream about at night, and when I wake up in the morning light, you're all I'm thinking of. My love.
Now, one thing about our songwriting process is that it's almost always collaborative, usually between Luke Kazmarowitz, Ali Sizowitz, and myself. However, in this case, it was actually our bass player, Matt Hamilton Sutherland, who got this song started when he sent me a video of him playing the ukulele, of all things. Here's a bit of that video. What you're hearing now would eventually become the verse of the song, played almost exactly as Matt's playing it here, and the pre-chorus, which we altered slightly. I loved both of these sections as soon as I heard them, and I just knew they were building to a great poppy chorus, and I couldn't wait to write it. There was just one problem. I had never played ukulele before.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
I know that sounds bad, but the truth is it turned out to kind of be a good thing.
You totally redeem yourself!
I'll explain what I mean with our pro-ish tip number 1. If you feel stuck creatively, try adding a restriction to your songwriting process. I know that might sound a little backwards, but the truth is sometimes having a restriction can force us out of our comfort zone and down a new creative path that we might never have tried otherwise. For example, if I ask you to walk out your front door, that's easy, you've done it millions of times. But if I ask you to do it without touching the ground, well, now you've got to get creative. The same thing is true with music. If I ask you to write a chord progression, you'll come up with one thing. But if you have to write the melody first and then fit your chord progression around that, you'll probably come up with something different. Same if you try starting your song with a riff or a bass line. If you usually write at the guitar, try sitting down at the piano. If you're a pianist, try picking up a ukulele, even if you've never played one before. It'll force you to do something new, and sometimes just that spark of a new idea can birth a whole new song.
Light bulb.
In my case, writing on ukulele restricted me to just 4 chords, the only 4 I had figured out how to play. You could probably guess they are C, F, G, and A minor. Now this forced me to write more simply than I usually do, and as a result I came up with 2 simple poppy chord progressions that I really liked. The first progression is one of my favorites. It starts on the 1 chord, moves to the 6 chord, and then to the 4 chord, before coming back to the 1 chord for half a measure, and ending with a half measure of the 5 chord. Now this is a pretty common chord progression, and one that I think sounds sort of bittersweet and melancholy and emotional. The second chord progression was, of course, 1 to 5 to 6 to 4, or as I like to call them, the $1 million chords, because there's been about a gazillion pop songs with these chords. Now, it's always tempting to use this progression, but whenever I do, I always try to put a little twist on it to keep it from sounding too derivative. In this case, we added the very Kazmirian minor 4 chord on the second time through the progression.
Isn't that interesting?
So now I had 2 great poppy chord progressions. I showed them both to Ali, and we hemmed and hawed about which one to use for the chorus. That's when we decided, why not use them both? Pro-ish tip number 2. Give your song 2 choruses.
I can't. It's too much.
This sounds like sort of a strange phenomenon, but you hear it from time to time. My go-to example is the song So Much I by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
So much I wish I could. So many I wish I would. So much I wish I could. Count on you not to defeat me. Please don't turn away again. Please don't turn me into them.
Now you might say the first chorus is more of a pre-chorus, but I don't think so. It's a full-length section with a hooky, catchy melody, internal repetition in the lyrics, and the whole section is repeated verbatim, as much as any other part of the song. It's a chorus. This song just happens to have 2 of them. And personally, I love this technique. I think it gives your song twice as many cool, catchy parts to sing along to. And in our case, I think it kept our song feeling sort of fresh and unique, even though the individual sections were nothing that crazy.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
So, with basic music for a verse, a pre-chorus, and not 1 but 2 choruses ready to go, it was time to move on to lyrics. At the time we were writing this song, Ali was about 6 months pregnant with our first child, Miles, who's 3.5 now. The topic was on our mind, so when it came time to start writing lyrics, the song sort of became a love song to our unborn child about how excited we were to meet him and how much we already loved him.
Kids, you're gonna have a baby.
We got off to a pretty good start, about 2 verses and a pre-chorus, when we decided it was time to share what we had with Luke. Now the truth is, sometimes our process for writing lyrics can be kind of long and tedious, drawn out over multiple sessions with lots of rewrites. But this time, Luke took to our song right away with gusto and came up with some lines that we really loved and felt captured what we were looking for. Before long, the whole song was finished. It turned out to be one of those special moments where everything just falls into place. But the craziest part about this story is something that we wouldn't learn until weeks after the lyrics were finished. And I'll come back to that at the end of the video.
I want it now!
Now our process often goes this way. With chords and lyrics finished, we have a rough, skeletal version of our song that we can present to the band for arranging. And oftentimes our song will undergo significant changes once the whole band gets some input. In this case, we knew we wanted that open feel with the ghost notes on the snare during the verse and pre-chorus, and we knew we wanted that poppy, quasi-reggae feel during the second chorus. But it took us a while to figure out exactly what we wanted for that first chorus. We knew we wanted it to step up in energy from the pre-chorus, and yet still leave room to grow into that second chorus. It took weeks of back and forth until we had really refined it to what we wanted. Allie's violin in this section helped. We let our song settle for a couple weeks, and before long, we knew we had a really special song on our hands.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
Especially when we got some incredible news from Luke and his wife Michelle that they were also expecting their first child, also a boy. And it turned out that the very moment they both found out she was pregnant was mere minutes before Allie and I showed Luke the lyrics to My Love for the first time. Looking back, it's no wonder he took to the song the way he did. Even though we didn't know it then, Luke was feeling the exact same things we were about becoming a parent for the first time. It was really incredible, and that brings me to my final pro-ish tip for the day. Write about what you know. If your song means something to you, it's probably going to mean something to a lot of other people as well. And that's how we came up with a song that I feel is one of the most meaningful ones we've written to date.
Without you, if I could hold you in my arms tonight, I tell you everything will be alright and give you all my love. Now you're all I dream about at night, and when I wake up in the morning light, you're all I'm thinking of. My love.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we in the Casimir Effect wrote our song, My Love. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Until next time.